are they gonna be?
That is why I have a job. That's my job. That's part of my job. Part of it. Not the whole thing, part of it. There are others like me who do the same thing. God have taught us how to show people the direction. But the Holy Spirit is the one who's going to do it. He's going to do the work. We're just going to show them the direction to turn. Right? Which book to read. What time frame to use. How to use the different systems, different techniques. So that the Holy Spirit can reveal it to them. How to be conscious of certain things that are taking place. That's our job. Because the Holy Spirit wants you to know. He wants you to know. But because of those things, He can't get through. Right? So our job is to get you to understand. These things are there because He cannot defy the laws of God. The laws of God specifically make sure that you cannot be dominated. You cannot be, how to put it, not cannot be, but God does not want to dominate you. He does not want to will you into anything. He wants you to will yourself. He wants you to decide. He wants you to have the freedom to choose. So He wants to give you the exposure, give you the information, give you the revelation. But you have to still choose. Romans chapter 8, you are predestined to be like the Son of God in terms of His principles, His model. Whether you get there is up to you. But the predestined is already taking place. In other words, it has already been predestinated, before. Right? So it's like you send your children to school, you pay all the bills, buy out all the clothes and all the books, you set them up. The child could go to school and make mess, could skylark, have fun, but it's up to the child to decide. But you as the parent just have to get the information or get the resources to the person. That's all we do. And then, based upon the techniques, the different things we use, remember the same thing I was talking about with the guy who had this confidence issue? And he had these people around him and his big dream. And when I found out his problem, I said, okay, this is what you need. So I gave him the techniques he needs to use so that he can get over the hurdle or get out of the box, as you really say. And he decided, nah, that's too hard. You know what? He's in the same place. Struggling the same way. Living the same way. So, our job is not to make the person do it. God's job is not to make you do it either. He's just to bring it to you. Alright, so that's just it. So that's what we do. We bring it to you and we get you to, you decide if you want to follow through, and based on where you are, we pay special attention to your area of need. You understand? So from here is where, from after this topic, we're going to go into the other part, which has to do with the principles of kingdoms, how kingdoms function. There is where we start separating people, because your need is different from another person, right? Go ahead.
Okay, now we were asked to say what we want to do. So I was telling you that I've always been thinking about it because of my passion lies in terms of evangelism and seeing people's lives change.
Okay.
I always loved counseling. Now, one of the ministry that I do, I chose to give it a name. And I called it Pathfinders.
Okay.
Now, the reason for doing that is really, I've zoomed in on counseling and settled with counseling. I have not studied counseling because I felt it was a little bit limiting.
Okay.
Right? I really do love it.
All
No,
right.
but I'm saying this to you because I want to hear your opinion on this. Now, for me, Karen brought up this thing, and I really love to know that I can help people on the right way, as you're saying, becoming who they're supposed to be. So that's where the name Pathfinders came from. So I look at time, I look at age, I look at now all these things in your mind and in your spirit. You're passionate about so many things. It's so difficult to choose one. Now I'm hearing you saying this is part of what you do and part of what you do. So now you're making me feel, now I need not to just counsel.
Okay.
Yeah?
All right. Let me clarify with can I bring it up here, boy? All right. Let me give you an idea. Okay. My purpose is to create efficient systems to transform your gift and passion into effective solutions. My purpose is efficient systems. That's me. I dream, think, sleep that day and night. Home, in the kitchen, the bathroom. Anyway, anything inefficient, I am there. I could find a way to get around that to make sure that that's efficient. That's me. That's my passion. That's my drive. Right? Now, that came, of course, after doing different things. I play drums. I used to teach drums. Right? Teach people to play the drums. In fact, there are pastors who still call me and I say, hey, I don't do that anymore. I direct them to somebody else whose, and I will call this to him, this term, whose primary gift is drums. I'm a technologist, right? That's my normal daily job. I do technology, right? But I also train people how to use technology to develop something specific that they have. So I have to zero in more. Now, there are three different things happening there. There is a primary gift, a secondary gift, and a tertiary gift. I have to know that. That is discovered after training. You might have several things that you want to do, but you have one purpose, one real passion. And that lines up with your primary gift. So there are people who have several gifts. But this understanding where your purpose is allows you to separate the tertiary and the secondary from the primary. So you can do the tertiary. For example, if no drummer come to church and I'm free, I'm not preaching that Sunday, I'll go and play the drums. There's no problem with that, right? Because where I am now, I don't need to. They have two drummers. Sometimes they're not around, yes. Now, secondary, I repair computers and networks. That's for me, for people, for other people, the people I serve, as far as they're concerned, that's my primary gift. Right? Because they find anytime they have something wrong, there are companies who will wait until I reach. There are people who have their systems set up and so forth, and they will not let anybody touch it until I reach. But for me, I know that's my secondary gift. I have to know that. My primary gift now is lining up the technology with your particular service or product you want to create and make it effective. I have to create a system out of the technology to do that, to make sure that you become effective. Right? Now, that took nights and days and months and weeks to discover that niche. So it's like you're wide open. Remember, you're going through this thing, and all of these things are happening here. Identity, purpose, potential, heritage. And this is the big picture. You have to be able to go down, dig deep, and find that one holy grail that is you. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm hearing what you say. So I have realized in my own person that I love working with children. I love nurturing children. I love being with children wherever, however.
Good.
But yet others will say to me that I see leadership in you and want to put me to the front to do leadership. While I will perform the task, if you give me a house with children and leave me there, I am quite comfortable and I will...
You'll forget to eat, forget to sleep.
Right, right, that's my passion, that's everything. But people will say, well, no, I see how you communicate with young people, I see how you communicate with children, and you have a way of getting people to do things in a way that, but you are a leader. But when I look at me, leave me in the background with the children and I will produce leaders for you. That's how I see it. Explain that to me.
You just explained it. You just did it. You just did it. You just said it. All of us are leaders. When I go to the tire man in the tire shop, he's the leader, I'm the follower. If you tell me, here one boss, the way this tire is, that tire they change. I don't follow the man advice. He's the leader there. All of us are leaders. Right? When you see the problem with the children, you know what the parent needs to do. You are the leader there. And the parent needs to know, hear what I mean, even though it's my child, this person's advice, this person's leader in this area, I need to follow this person's leadership. So leadership is general. But there is a primary area where your gift is, which you just said. You produce leaders from the children. That's all. In other words, it's possible. What you do is that you bring out their leadership potential. That's all. Sometimes that's the area you're gifted in. For example, remember I said that general. So there's several people who could want to work with children. But other people have different calling in the area. You may need to bring out their leadership potential to know where they function so that a lady like this lady here can take them to do a special project. But if you didn't do that, she can't do the project because they don't have the acumen that they're supposed to have. So when she put them to perform or put them to do the particular role, they can't do it. So you have a connection.
Okay. And presently, my current job, I am actually working in management level in a government institution, right? Is it that I'm off track there because I'm supervising adults and in health sector, not necessarily where children are?
There are two things. The system that we live in does not teach us how to find our purpose. That's general. Teach us how to get a job. And we become experts at it. Let me tell you something. I have a cousin. I remember when he was small, he used to use fire to do art on like wood. We'd burn the different areas, use charcoal and stuff. And that man would create like a face. Artist, he will draw something. He sees somebody, and he would sometimes sit in somewhere. He will come home and sit and draw that exact thing using, I think it was charcoal and stuff. I mean, this guy, he runs a business now. Because he was put in a job to manage a hotel. But his passion is art. That is what he would rather be doing. You understand what I'm saying? So the system doesn't lend itself for us to discover our purpose. It doesn't. Now, there are two sides to that now. What we need to do is to learn how to work ourselves out of our job into our purpose. And that could mean two areas. One is stay in the company you are in that works with children. If you're teaching children already and you're calling to deal with children, you no longer come to work, you no longer come to a job. You're having fun. Because what you have done now, you have discovered the principles you need to use to maximize that gift in the same place where you are. So you have worked yourself out of a job and you're actually having fun working. That's one area. The other area is that sometimes, because where you are is not really where your passion is, it's time to move. There's a time when you have to plan a move. Okay? This is not really me, but there are things I'm learning here that I can use. But I need to plan the move. I need to get the move on. But God is not going to move you specifically. He's going to wait until you say, I agree with you. I want to do this. Then he will help you make the move. All right? So the area goes. Go ahead. Question.
It's amazing you brought up art just now. Now, I have some little well, here is action. I used to do art, right?
Go ahead.
And if you see the pieces, you'll be amazed. However, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm passionate about it.
I missed that one.
I won't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Oh.
But what happened is that...
you still have the pieces?
No, boy, I don't know where it is. I have pictures of it.
You have pictures? You have two pictures of them?
Well, yes.
Yes,
and what happened,
good.
you know, it was a time where I was more or less focused, and I was able to produce it. Now, what I was trying to get at is in terms of distraction, ill-discipline, and laziness, how it can affect your passion or purpose, and you want the easy way out in some aspects, because, like, you know, to do one drawing, it'll take some hours, right? In building the discipline during that period, and it was very good. I got an A in art in that period, you know. But the thing is that if you do have the passion, you know, could you open yourself up to distraction and lose the gift as such, or your direction?
All right. The main thought is
and
this.
the other thing too, laziness too, and ill discipline, how they tends to affect your drive or your thing. Explain that for me, please.
Okay. Yes, distractions are common, especially with youths. Here is the challenge. Here is the training. What the training does, it allows the person to separate something they are good at from what they would prefer to do. It separates that. Now, as I said, I'm good at drumming. A lot of people love it. In fact, people call me still sometimes when they're doing their big programs because they want to do. I love playing drums for classical music or those kind of music. And sometimes the choirs will say, "Here, what thing? We need to call Kevin because of this piece. We need to call him to do this." And I will go and do it, no problem. But because as far as they're concerned, I'm very good at it. And yes, I'm good at it, at that area. But I have to know, you personally have to know what you'll prefer to be doing. I prefer, for example, I cried once when I met a guy who I went to primary school with. I went to Tobago to goat race. And I met him, chatting and so forth. Long time I haven't seen him. And I saw these shoes. These leather shoes that these Rastamen make? Right. So I saw it, nice shoes and so forth, and it was good. But he gave me I started telling him what I was doing and so forth, and he gave me an album with pictures of the shoes that he's doing. Let me tell you something. I got weak. I nearly cried because I was like, what is this in an album? These things are supposed to be on people's feet. He is using that same technology to make high heel shoes and cloggers and all kind of, fancy designs and stuff. I said, with colors. Like, what is this? I think my wife had sent me for something. I lost. Because what it did, it hit me, my passion. Because I want to take this and make a whole business, big organization out of this and make people make this and wear this. Because that's what he wants. But I'm the guy to link him to what he's supposed to be doing. So you have to know the difference. Even though you can do that, yes, I'll go to drums, and when I'm finished, I will go in an organization and I'll see a drum set and I won't touch it. Because it's not my primary gift. But you show me you want to do these things and you start doing certain things and you want to know how to maximize it and so forth, you have my attention. Right? Because I want to take this now and make it global. Because I know what the technology can do to do that. So I have to understand the difference. The same person who plats hair, or who do makeup, or who have a salon. The person might have a salon. A salon includes several things coming to you. Several things. But it's to get the person to zero in on something specific that they want to master. That's the work. My job is to get the person to master something specific. Take that specific thing they want to master and connect it to the people who are looking for them. Because there are people looking for the master of this area. Specific. Very specific. You go down to the point. Right? And that's missing from a lot of our issues that we have in our country. We try to get people to fill jobs, but they are not called to do it. It's just a job for them. Right? So what you're saying is very good. It's very good. Just now, right? Come in. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So from young, I always, from younger.
Okay. Go ahead, from young. Go ahead.
I used to always tell God that I want to be happy. I want to be happy. So I don't want to do any, in terms of career, I don't want to do anything that I am not supposed to be doing. And so what I like about this session is, and I like that the fact that the Sunday school and everybody here and the persons who saying that they like to train people. So in terms of the younger ones, if from young, we could train them or help them to find their purpose and what jobs they're supposed to be doing. So when they get older, they wouldn't just be going into a job for going to a job's sake.
And you will not need you'll need a job. My goal in life is to eradicate people looking for jobs. Right? Let me just fine-tune that. You're next. Let me fine-tune that a little more. In terms of children, what I told a gentleman, I said, what you need to do is observe your children. Just observe them. Observe when they are doing a particular thing that they're just having fun doing that. See, what you do, you draw a general idea of it around it. So, the general idea could be, he just loves to create stuff. Or, he just loves to tear up stuff. Everything he sees, just tearing them, tearing this. That's love. That's just, right, they just love that. They give them things to tear up. That's what they love to do. Right, demolition. Right? Or this just love to be singing every morning. There's noise in the place. Like, I go to bed, you want to sing. You draw a general idea around it. You take that, right? Some people just love to handle money. They love to spend. They love to save. They love to count the numbers. And that's okay. Give them more of it. Let them see what they can do with it. Train them in the little art. And what you eventually start to do is start separating as they're growing into finer areas. So you leave them general up front. Right? I told my son already, he's a dancer. Why? He can't sit still on a chair. He has to get up and spin and move. But he don't like to dance. But he just have it, he just do it. Right? He can't sit on the chair to eat or anything like that. You have to move around and spin. Right? But the idea is there's an art to be able to observe and then gradually direct them to where you see they're going. Train up a child in the way he should go. So you'll find out. You're prayerfully doing it. You're prayerfully doing it. Now sometimes it could be destructive. And you have to find out where the destructiveness coming from. Is there something good that the child is abusing? You have to find the difference. All right? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to share a testimony. From a child, I always wanted to be a teacher, and I wanted to deal with children. But I started off working, then I went across to colonial life, and I met my husband. He was my supervisor at one point. And, and when we got married, after about just 2 months, he said to me, he said, come. We got married 20th of November. And he had moved to another company by then. And he said, come, let us talk. He said, you hate the office. Now, I did an excellent job in the office, right? I was always, he just supervised me for a short while, but I got merit bonus and everything. I was an excellent worker. And he said, come, you hate the office. He was not, look, and he said, you hate the office. He said, you always talk about a daycare center. He said, you dream, and I'll back you up. And this would have been probably the January or maybe the December, probably January. And by February, he signed me up for a childcare course. And I did the first childcare course, and then I didn't do anything about it. Then I got pregnant with this young man. And when I went home on maternity leave, well, we had plans in place to build the daycare center. And when I went home on maternity leave, God said it was time for me to stay home. My plan was to build the daycare. We had got a new house, to build the daycare center, pay off the loan, and then go home. But when I got pregnant, the Lord wanted me to stay home with him, and then I had a second child. I went into the daycare center, and after a while, I did excellent with the children. I felt I was not accomplishing what I really wanted to, and God directed me to the school. And today, when my husband knew me in the office, he knew me as an office worker, being able to organize. He didn't see, I did art in school, he didn't see the creativity before. He didn't see the work with the children. He didn't see any of those things. He just saw me as a worker in the office, and I worked right under him, directly under him, as a very good worker. But no, before I was in his department, I was in 2 other departments. And I did excellent, right. And he never saw, I tell him, I say, well, you get tried, because he never saw that in me. But here when now I can draw. I'm very creative with teaching the children. I can do programs with the children. And all the students that come through my hand are A students, A+ students. And that is because that is where God had always, that was the gifting he had placed in me. But it was because of, as soon as I got saved too, because he was the one, as a husband, was able to see that in me. He said, you hate the office. He say, you always talk about a daycare center. He say, you dream, and I will back you up. And he was the first one to go and sign me up for the childcare course. And he continued to back me up even when we weren't making any money. He was the one, we had a family of 5, and he was the one continued to finance the school when it, when we were just cutting thing. And he continued, and every time I felt that sometime I wasn't making money, he said, Jenny, I have not complained. So why are you? But I was amazed because I was always creative, but I was amazed to see the things I can do with children and the potential that I can draw from them. They're not just A students because they're bright. I take children from all over, the Laventille area, Westmoreland, and they all top. But when they go to their schools, the teachers like them. They're well-mannered, they're well-trained. And so that is what God has placed in me. But as I said, he used my husband to, help me to find that place.
Wonderful, wonderful. That was not what Peter was meant. Go ahead. Awesome.
Okay.
Go ahead, stand up now. Yeah, let's see the singer. You can sing too if you want.
I try to piece things together in my head. We talk about things that you're passionate about and your primary gift and all of that. But a lot of times we have the passion to do certain things and it's not necessarily our purpose. So how do we separate?
That's what the training does. There are three major ways three foundational ways to discover purpose. There are about 12 principles of purpose, but there are 3 that are foundational. One is your natural design. There are things that you are naturally designed for that is natural to you. If you are called to be a singer and you can't hear A flat from B, then and you're passionate about singing, maybe you might have to manage. You may be called to manage the singers, right? Because you're not naturally, right? So you understand it? Natural. Right, you're a producer, right? Or musician, So I don't understand the difference. You're natural for it. It's natural for you. Natural design. So design is one. For example, when we talk about the bird and the plane, the bird is naturally designed to fly. The way the wings are, the way the body is structured, all of that is a natural design. So what they do to make the plane, they have to make the plane in a replica of those things. The way they do the wing, how the breeze will go over the wing, how the body will be, the contour of the body. They have to make it in line with something that's natural, so you can fly. The boat is designed to float, so they make it a particular way. So natural design is very important. Then desire, that's where the passion comes in terms of, in other words, if we miss you and we can't find you, would we know? I know exactly where she is. She's always on the corner of the singing. In other words, is this something that you can't get rid of that? Even sometimes people tell you, get away from it. You hide and do it. You remember Sister Act? Is Sister Act 1 or Sister Act 2? Is it 1 or 2? Where the girl, even though mommy didn't want her to sing, she's still away and she said, I don't want to sing. I can't remember if it's 1 or 2. 1. 2. What's her name again? Lauren Hill. She couldn't get away from it. And the mother could complain all she wants, but she can't get away from it. Because it bulbs inside you. It's a replica to when, is it Jeremiah? When he said the word is like fire, it's shut up in my bones. It's like that. You can't get away from it. That is not a statement to mean the only thing I could do is preach the word. You may call to do something that is like fire. You just can't get away from it. I just have to go to the museum because that is what I love. When mommy miss me, I'm at the museum. When daddy, and they will beat me for it, and I just can't stop thinking about museum. Like I'm there. So, because that's in your bones. It's in you. God put that there. That's one. Second thing is distinction. Third thing is distinction. There are several people here interested in working with children. Right? but there's a distinction for your purpose. You are connected, but you have to find that distinction where you have to master. Second one is desire, or passion. Third one is distinction. Go ahead.
What about this instance where, they have the test where you could test to see, get an idea as to which
I have 4 of
ministry.
those. Yeah.
Right.
I have 4 of those. Yeah. You're gonna do those eventually. Yeah.
Okay. So mine is administration, right? I don't really like it.
No, that's administration when you do one test.
Well, yeah.
That's just this test in terms of spiritual gifts.
Yes.
No, that's just one. You have 4 other things you have to do. You have 3 other things you have to do to get the real you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I was saying, someone also was prophesied, but I'm good in that area.
Eh?
I'm
And
good at
maybe
it,
that's so.
but I don't really like it.
And maybe that's one of the areas you're good at.
But I don't like it.
That's okay. You still have work to do. Because they can prophesy and say, I would be the best drummer. But I know eventually I have to go through the process of finding the niche. There's a difference. Like this lady was saying, leadership. People think that she's good at leadership and that sort of thing. And her passion is children. That's because there's a distinction that's happening there. She's separating where the leadership potential is to be used. What is it really? And that's going through. That's why we have to go through a lot of these things to find out. The Ephesians 4 spiritual gift test, very comprehensive. We'll go through that. We'll go through the DISC program test, the character first test. We have to go through that. Because Brian Skinner will do the character first test. He's the consultant. He's a national consultant, regional consultant for that. He will go through the character first test. So you get to know what characteristics you need to develop, what character qualities of Jesus that you need to develop to master this particular area. And the final one is the personality test. In terms of, does your personality line up with what you're supposed to do in this area? So all those things help with fine-tuning you, all right? So that eventually is going to come, right? But because it's because, we have been groomed, I tell you. Because it's not just you struggling, it's what was passed on to you for generations that we're dealing with. Some they call it generational curses, but sometimes it's just generational mistakes or just generational opinions. They have thought that way, right? Thought that way. One of my passion is to transform charity into royalty. What does that mean? What people call charity is what they give some money to help. My vision documented, everything I tell you, I've documented it. Detail. So an investor could come this morning and say, how much you need to do? I know how much it will cost. I know how to set it up. That's because of work. So you have to be able to set it up. Set it up. Document. That's why I tell you to write down the things you talk about. That's just the beginning. You want to eventually go now into detailing it. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm seeing. When I go out, as you get information, add it to your phone. Go back home, add it to your file. Because you're trying to find you. Who is this person? This gem that God produced. That's somebody looking for. But the gem still needs some rubbing to shine, So, yes. Right? So we good with that? Because that is what Jesus thinks about you, When we talk about finding out his belief, what he thinks about you is the real you. What his idea is about you. Right? When I talk about transforming charity into royalty, I mean funding orphanages to make them into resorts. So when people look at an orphanage, child is crying. Everything okay? Is he all right? Check to make sure. He's precious. Right. Seems okay. All right. Right. So when we talk about, when we see, for example, in my mind, so I'm giving you this for me, but I want you to think about it for you too. In your mind, in my mind, when I think of an orphanage, what people normally think of charity, they think of a place they give money to, they try to survive, they help them as best as they could. My goal is to fund it and also train the people who support it to bring out the best in the kids or in the children. Put swings and bridge and river and trees and playgrounds, and training them how to be mothers and fathers, training the people who are doing that how to be good mummies and daddies for the children. So, right, I already calculated that to do that project will cost an orphanage $100 million US a year. I already calculate that. I already calculate what it takes to do it, to fund it. That's for each orphanage. And I want to do 1,000 around the world. So you have to know that. But I could only talk that because I've break through the barrier of limiting resources. Right? Limiting the resources of God. You know, this all, I can't afford this now, this is my job. I had to break through that. You see? Man, whatever that is what I want. You have to be able to be bold enough to see that. So that process is reading the scriptures in your leverage time, the uninterrupted time. Now, you can use the devotional time for the same thing, right? I know you'll have time that you spend reading your word and so forth. Spending that uninterrupted time just reading the word, doing the little documentations, but also practicing. Eventually, we'll show you how to practice the art of meditation now on the principle, right? How to meditate now on the principle that you pull out. How to go through the process of memorizing, visualizing, personalizing, synchronizing, how to go through that process. But you have to first start doing the work, start reading it, start going through the passage per day, going through it, documenting the stuff. Right? Sure. So that's the process. Because we want God to be the one to reveal it to you. We want God to be the one to confirm it. Right? That, yes, this is it. All right? And of course, what it does for the people who have challenges in terms of confidence, being in the box, that kind of thing, the Holy Spirit breaks through all of that while you're doing it. It breaks that down. So you see the limitation. Nobody can teach you that. That how to break out about. You have to learn that through the Spirit of God. All right? So these are just techniques to allow Him to do it. That's basically it. Right? So we good? Right? Go ahead. Question? Yeah, go ahead.
No,
Somebody question.
Wasn't a question. I was talking to this.
All right, go ahead.
Was not a question, but what I was thinking is how you were showing us in terms of the drums, is that not necessarily your talent is your purpose, is what you're supposed to be doing for the rest of your life. And so, yes, you probably could sing, but singing is not what you're supposed to be doing for the rest of your life. Yes, you're using it because God designed our talents and things to be used for His honor and His glory, which is we could be using it in church, but it's not necessarily what we should be doing for the rest of our lives.
Right. Good. Now, talent is related. That's a confusion that has taken place in a lot of churches. Talent is not your purpose. That's right. For example, the bird's gift is to fly. Need to move? Right. The bird's gift is to fly. Gift is flight. But the talent is the use of his wings. The talent is his wings. What he has, what the bird has, is wings. Nice wings, particular kind of wings. How the wings shape, the size of the wings, how he moves them, right? But the aim is not just to use the wings. The aim is to get to destinations, right? The fish have different type of fins, okay? But the gift is swim. You don't teach people how to use their gift. All you do is expose it. You help them to expose it. All you do is fine-tune it. The gift is there. You can't teach a fish how to swim. You can't teach a human how to lead. All you do is expose the area. That's all. Through different techniques and so forth. With the mic. Right. So that's the That's the idea behind it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kevin, on that point, I remember some time ago, I heard Dr. Miles Monroe saying, you are how you are because of why you are.
Because of why.
Because
yeah.
why.
Yeah. You are that way because that's because that's your purpose. That's who you are. Yeah, you are how you are because of why you are here. Yes. That's the reason. Right? So accept one of the things, one of the challenges we have to go through also, another barrier is in a lot of churches we were taught in a good intentional way how to deny ourselves. Have a question? Question in back. How to deny ourselves. We need to be, one of the things we have to learn is how to deny the destructive self, the self that has been tarnished by sin, and how to reveal the true self, which is what Jesus wants. So I have to understand the difference. That's what the trainings and different things that the Sunday school teachers are supposed to go to do, is take the child and show the child, do you know that this is who you are? Do you know that this is who you are? Do you know that this is who you really could be? Do you know that this is what you can do? What you're doing, you're revealing to the child the true self, even though the child might be behaving destructively. So the idea is that we direct the energy, not to kill the energy. And they say, don't behave like that. No. It's to direct the energy. So that's the process teachers do, right? Go ahead, question.
Not really a question. Something just came to mind while he was giving the example of the bird and the wings and the purpose. As I began to visualize it, I also see that I saw different types of birds, which cause their flight to vary. Their height, their distance, everything varies. So in the same way, the talent, not necessarily because you and I have the same talent, we will always be at the same level. We will vary, right? Because our purpose, ultimate purpose, may have like variances. So that came to mind. I began to visualize that. That's what I should share.
Very good. That's it. Very good. Go ahead. Come on. Bring it on.
For instance, when I mention construction, as what referring to general construction. For instance, I really start off as a mason, doing little mason work.
Okay.
And doing the mason work, I went into woodwork, right? And by doing the woodwork, building cupboards and things, I realized that, look, it have plumbing to do when you're doing cupboards. So I decided, look, I need to learn also plumbing. Also in construction, it have welding and all these different things. So my purpose really is learning all the trades pertaining to general construction. So at the end of it, it will be more as a supervisor and also knowing the work. Because sometimes it have some supervisors who only specialize in one field, one area. Because they might call for a carpenter. Only carpentry you can do. But to supervise general construction, you need to know a bit of each of the trade.
Right. Now, one of the things we have to be is very careful with that. As you say, it's good to know of the different areas. For example, I'm into technology, so I need to know the different areas, like what my brother they talk about, right? But I have to be careful to know where I need to focus. That's very important. What focus does, it increases your value. It's the reason why diamond as a jewel is more precious than ruby, or have a different value than emerald. They're precious stones, right? But what happens is that the refining makes you fit your place. Another way also to put it is that you can have an organization where you manage, for example, a pastor could be, one of the things actually we have to deal with a lot of pastors with that, is that you can be a pastor of a church. And because you're a pastor, certain things are expected of you. But the pastor needs to know where their gift is, so that they can focus on that area of pastoring. There's a particular thing that needed there. One of the things, a very good gentleman of mine, a very good friend of mine, who is very good where men is concerned. And he's also a pastor. And it's becoming very difficult to get him to focus on this thing. I mean, people want this gentleman. They need. The governments, go on and governments present, run this man down for his skill, his gift. But he's not able to focus it and stay there and develop it and maximize it. So that could be frustrating to someone like me, because I'm there to help him maximize that area. But if he doesn't want to zero in, and he's still trying to be general, and people are running him down for the gift, and you're trying to get him to separate, don't do all of this. Focus on this thing. You have it. Right? Right? My dad wanted to tell me that he was going to beat him because he's messing with something good that he has. So that's very important to focus on the area. Even though they might run the company, they must know that you specialize in a particular area. Even if it means a specially designed kind of building, or a specially designed material, or special area. That takes work to specialize. It's important to do that. Not necessarily in plumbing or carpentry or whatever it is. But it may mean your company, we do this kind of building. We build buildings that do particular thing. So that is very important to do. So you become, because your market is no longer Trinidad in anything. Your market is now over 7 billion people around the world. That's the beauty about it. It has, one of the things that limits us is our market. We think that the only place I need to serve or I can serve is Trinidad. No more. No more thinking Trinidad. Think global. Go ahead.
You mentioned about the primary and secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a time where your primary becomes secondary because of time?
No, your primary can never be secondary. Primary is primary. Primary is your purpose.
No, meaning that because of age limit.
Oh, no. What happens is that you go into a different phase of it, but you're still that person. For example, if you're a master of putting up walls, you're a blocksman, you are the guy who they could tell, we want a block 50 feet high with no beam inside of it. You are the man who do it. If when you're 90, they call you, it's because you are called to make sure that the person who you have trained to do it is doing it correctly. But it's not that you're doing it, it's not that you're going up on the scaffolding, it's not anymore. But because this is your area, this is your gifting, that's your primary, you can see from the ground where 45 feet in block 5,000 whatever, that one you need to push in a little more. Because you're gifted in that area. You can see it. The other person can't see it. They can't. That's the difference. You move a different phase now. You are now training. You are now consulting. You are now supervising at a different level. All right? So that phase takes place. All right? Go ahead. Huh? Somebody? Who was it? All right? So we haven't, what we are trying to do is bring out what Jesus thinks of us. But it's something we have to discover as we go through the different things, as we spend time with him. There are people here, I didn't hear anybody talk about cooking. There are people here who are hungry, you know. I hope you know that. Is there anybody here who master cooking, master restaurant, the people who loves cooking a particular kind of meal? Who are the people? Nobody mentioned cooking, no food, no particular kind of meal, no particular kind of drink. I mean, hey, we need it. Don't you know that we could also have a master chef program in Trinidad or in the Caribbean? And what do you think? And look, somebody. Question behind here. Question is back here.
I hear you talk about cooking. I used to cook at one time, and at one point in time, no, you need to listen. On a small scale kind of catering business, but I think what made me stop is because I was not able to charge people accordingly, and I oftentimes lost out because I used to do wedding cakes and stuff like that, and I stopped because you'll find that when I charge a certain price, and especially sad to say, in the Christian community, you undercharge yourself, and then you look out and you end up losing out more. So I stopped at that point because I didn't see myself being marketable there, even though I enjoy doing it. But the income part of it, I didn't know how to market myself then. So that was just dropped by the wayside.
Okay. All right. Okay. That happens. That happens. Right? And that's part of what we do, our company do. We help people deal with that part also. So they can get paid for what they're valuable in doing. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Concerning the cooking, what I realized is that when I was saying about the talent, I was saying that the talent and your purpose is related. So, concerning cooking, I love to cook, and I think I have a talent for it. And because I know that I love to help people, I know that the cooking part is I only cooking because I love to feed people.
Okay.
So I know that your talent and your purpose related.
Right. But one of the things we have to separate is, as I say, purpose is passion. Somebody in the back. Separating passion. One of the things I was supposed to mention, separating passion and interest. Because you can be interested in something, but the passion is different. Also, what helps you to synchronize your passion with what you're doing is when too much people are calling you. In other words, you have to put your phone on silent. You're tired because you have too much people calling you for your gift. That is when in fact, that helps you to know your primary. It helps. But if you haven't refined it, sometimes you don't get that. But it's an indication, I need to go further into this. I need to refine this more. Right? There are people here who would like to get out of debt. We have a lady here who likes to do finance. Maybe her goal is to help us get out, a lot of people get out of debt, whatever it is. Some people like to be able to give for example, one of the things the gentleman say, rich, to help people. Here, there was a nice help. There are people who, well, that's good. Right? That's very good. Because one of the things is that there are people here who would like to give a house to their son or daughter when they get married, so they don't have to go and rent. But they don't know, how do I do that? How do I prepare for that? Hey, we need the people who have finances to guide us to do that, to tap into the systems that are available, so that can be done. So sometimes people are calling because, hey, we don't want to go through this normal thing again. We have this problem. Your phone running off the hook, right? And you have to put it on silent. So that's how you know the difference too. Go ahead.
Yeah, yes, Kevin. I am still trying to get a fine-tuning on gift and purpose. We understand talent, and you use the example of a bird.
Good.
All right? It is designed in a particular way. It has wings. It has to develop the ability to use these wings properly, all right? Which is a talent, but at the end of the day, the talent produces this gift of flight, okay? It can get to heights and access areas that another animal that is not so designed and talented can do.
Good question.
But I am still listening to hear, okay, so we may have a gift, but how does that help us to identify purpose? I am sure that they are aligned. I'm sure that they are connected. All right? Because I was thinking about you with that same example of the bird. I'm saying, but is the bird's purpose flight? I think not. It can fly. or it has the gift, that ability to
That's a
solve.
misunderstanding, yes.
But what is its purpose? Okay? So I was just thinking through that. The other thing I thought about that probably might bring us a little closer home. When Jesus, in his relationship with Peter, in the very early days, he met Peter. Yes, Peter. Peter is a seasoned fisherman. And he tells him, I will make you a fisher of men. So Peter clearly had a gift. I think we all know this story about he had been all night fishing. He knew every part of that lake that net should have gone. And so when Jesus told him to throw down the net again, he says, but what do you think I was doing all night? You know. And I think he threw it down again simply because Jesus said so. Because we don't know that Jesus was ever a fisherman. We know about him in carpentry. But I am just looking at that gift of fishing and understanding the movement of fish in relation maybe to the lake and the environment in the lake and how the water moves and so on, and where one can reasonably expect to find fish. Okay? All right? And Jesus said to him, I will make you a fisher of men. Because I'm just thinking that ultimately our purpose relates to how we impact people and people's lives. And so that is what I'm sort of, I'm listening to you speak.
Go ahead.
And
I'll
I'm
answer.
trying to draw from it
All right, so let me explain.
the purpose. So
Right.
you might have said it before and I
Yeah.
missed it.
So let me
I'd be
explain.
grateful if you-
Right, so the issue is that Peter's passion was not fishing. That's not what he would rather do. Hear what happening? The family have to eat. That's what I've learned to do from my father. But that wasn't his passion. That's all he learned to do. Fish. That was what the family did. But that wasn't his passion. That's not what he would rather do if he had everything that he needed. He really wanted to deal with specifically leading the people in a particular direction. That was inside, but Jesus saw it. That is what he would rather do. That's a real passion. Fishing was what he was trained to do. So Jesus used the analogy. I will take the skill you have and line up with what you really want to do. Fishers of men. Because I know you really want to get people out of this issue. Out of the Roman issue. That's a real passion. That's what's really inside his heart. That is why he was talking so much. That is why he wanted to come out and say, hey. Because he wanted to get rid of this thing. What is happening? That is how you know the difference. Now, the gift is there. It's definitely your purpose. Your gift is your purpose. It is. Here's the difference. Your purpose allows you to use the gift in a specific area, but it's directly in it. The talent is equipment. You are equipped with a voice. You are equipped with vocal cords. You're equipped with this, so you can sing. But the gift is when you sing, there's a particular result that you get. That is the purpose. The result that you want to create among the people, for the people. That's the purpose. So when you say, I want to help people, that's not a purpose. That's everybody supposed to be doing that. It's just that I want to help the people have a particular kind of house, according to this gentleman. Right? He's a local house. He's adamant at the price of his house. It's too expensive, man. When I checked out everything, I realized this. So it lines up. But he also has the passion. If you miss him, he go and build something. You have the gift of it. People call him night and day. That's how you know it is. It's there. It's there. It's just you can't get away from it. If you give me a chance and I don't get tired, I'll go and build. In other words, that's just it. I will just be doing it every day. Because I don't have to try to go to a job to pay bills. I have everything covered. So I will just go and just do what I love to do. That's how you know. So you put people in in that quadrant to get them to see themselves not having to work for something again. You have all the resources you need. What would you rather be doing? And sometimes the imagination is needed to work on that. You can't analyze it. You have to work with your imagination. You are in this place where you do not need to pay bills. You're not working because the children have to go to school. We want to